Now then, that was a lovely lunch. So, welcome back to, and now we're doing a year on the farm by popular demand by one of our fans. They know who they are, and so when they requested we do that, we did a bit of a scrabble around for some software for editing the videos to try and get them to look a little bit better. But we're hoping not to have to do too much editing, because one of the things that they liked about what we did was the raw footage of it and my mumbling, which I'm trying not to do quite so much of this time around. So, yep, that was their lunch, and so a few things have changed around here since we last joined us. So the last time you were here, it was just the start of summer. We're now in early spring, so we're a few months ahead, and in those few months there have been changes, and one of those changes includes this place here, which is, as you can see, the local inn. It's a new business that's set up. They managed to get it set up within a few months' time and get this built, and a fridge was put in especially as well to get this thing here. They do great food for a little local inn. They've got a really good chef, and so the food's excellent, but not too expensive. And of course they've got a nice lounge area for a few beers if you wish, and or whatever else you prefer to drink, and more importantly a pool table. So I'm also down here because I have a delivery to make, but not exactly. There is a delivery point here, and this is for stuff for the kitchen, so you know, it'll be wheat, barley and root crops and things, so the kitchen's one. But that's not what I'm here to deliver. Yesterday at the last of winter, I was working with the owners on a little project, shall we say, a special project, and that is just what I'm coming to finish up the last of my role in getting that up and running, and we'll go there now and have a look at that. So we have to actually come out of this part. There have been a few changes. Most of them are community changes. This one has been one of the major ones. The other major one, as you will see, is that the business owners of the garden centre gave that a bit of an overhaul as well, which is looking really nice now too. Alright, so we go around here. So there is one other thing that we will have to do here, and that is put a bit of a track in, a rough track into this area here. Just coming out the gates. So as you can see, it's a small campsite. It's not too busy at the moment, thankfully. And one of the projects we were working on was over here. I just pull it here. And I'll open up my back tail. So this is what we were working on yesterday, but they have burnt away all the firewood that was here. So yeah, I've brought across more firewood to put in there and to store, so they get a little bit of a fire pit. So I cut some wood, some in the back here. So we'll put that here. And I also, let's put this one at the edge because it's quite a good size. We also cut some seats as well, which we put in here, so that people can come in and sit around the fire in the evenings. I might pull it over this way a little bit actually. And yeah, enjoy a nice quiet time close to the barn, and you know, roast some marshmallows, whatever they feel like. doing, and so that's part of what I've done. Here we go. So I'll just get these out of here and over to here. As I say, this will be the, so they've got a bit of a fire. I will bring some more over at some point and put them in there. I have some ready to cut, which I've got. I'll just throw these out here first, I think. Which I've got behind my, don't tell anybody about this, still, which I didn't show you during the summer months. It's pretty much obsolete now, particularly now that we've got a local in, so, and it's become a bit overgrown. So there's some wood just nearby that, so I'll be bringing that down in the hope of and getting that cut, bringing it down at some point. Whether that's today or not, I don't know. So, and I'll stack any extra in that tent over there, that sort of little tent area, to help keep it dry. It's starting to warm up, 12 degrees, it's quite nice now. Which is fine. Building a fire is never a straightforward, easy thing to do. There we go. We want to make sure there's air gets in around it so that it lights later. So yeah, it's been really good. I think one of the seats is missing now, so I might have to see if I've got a thick enough piece to replace that. So I haven't done this yesterday, or the bulk of this yesterday. I spent most of my day doing this actually, because I had to go out and find a tree, cut it, and so on and so forth. I think that might be just enough to get them started for now. I'll put the rest in the tent. I didn't actually finish my own sort of winter chores, such as the straw pellets, getting them palletised. So I've been working on that this morning with one of my farm hands, and my other farm hands have been out starting to get the cover crops cultivated in and preparing those fields that we are sowing this year. And others have been checking the seed supplies. We've got plenty of digestate, which is going to be our main fertiliser, but we occasionally also, particularly in the grass fields later on in the year, we will use some solid fertiliser in there as well, so they're checking out the supplies. One of the other changes I've made, which I'll show you in a bit, has been to the animals. We've increased quite a bit the number of animals we've got on the farm, and so because of that, we've had to run everything over. We've had to try not to do that. It's increasing the animals. Also, as you might have seen, there's a fire point over there as well, which is kind of important given that we're having these fires here. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say to you. These logs here, the ones that they're going to be sitting on, these we sent off to get treated to make them a bit more fire resistant, because obviously we don't want these ending up stray sparks coming from there and then they upset these alight very easily. Thankfully we've got the burn quite close by, which allows for, you know, help to put the fire out, but we also over here have a fire point which is put in especially. So this campsite is also owned by the local inn, so there's not really any cooking facilities as such here. The local inn's trying to decide whether or not to put anything in, but of course, you know, if people, I mean, the ones in the caravans will have little cookers normally have little stoves which they can cook. Those in the tents, well, they also might have some portable little stoves, but then they also have the option, of course, of going into the inn itself for a nice meal, which, as I say, is really quite reasonably priced. Right, so onwards. I'll just jump out and shut this gate behind me. So yeah, there we go. That's the new inn and the campsite. As I say, it's another place for me to sell my produce as well, which is also very welcome. So that's the main sort of change in the village area that we did for the month since we finished. The other one is over here. You might remember that we had a couple of sheep pens up near the farm, and you may also remember that I did talk about the idea of moving these, which we now have. And not only did we move them, we added a couple more to increase the number of them that we have. And so, and of course it's springtime currently, and these are now in lamb or having lambs. And we had the vet come in late on last year, well, last autumn basically, to check to have a look to see which of these ones were in lamb and which weren't. So we now have 2 lots for the merinos, and this is one lot. As you can see, they're starting to produce. It's springtime. They're starting to produce. We'll need to keep an eye on that, because they can produce quite a lot quickly. And again, over here we have some more sheep that are wool sheep here. A little bit less number in here. I didn't divide them. What I did was, when I brought them down from up by the farm, I divided them in between the two, because they will increase their numbers through lambing. So I didn't really bother dividing them up evenly. I just, roughly. So, there's different numbers between the two. Over here we have our drovers, which we will be selling their lambs on. I should top up the water at some point. Selling their lambs on at some point. Once they're of the right weight to do so. These do not produce wool at all. I think there may be mixed breeds that can do both, but I'm quite happy just to have two lots producing wool at the moment. So yeah, so that's these. That's one of the main changes. One of the things I'm thinking of doing here, and it's going to take quite a bit of money, but I haven't yet decided, is putting in some sort of water source here. Landscaping is an expensive thing to do, and you're probably looking at my money and thinking, well, she hasn't actually made that much money since we were here a few months ago. I've actually probably spent about £500,000 in these last few months, and a lot of it has been on moving the animals and increasing my stock. So that's where a lot of it's gone. I've also done a bit, there's at least, expanded one of the fields as well, which again, it's a bit of money. And, I bought this additional storage area for our hay bales, which is really quite handy. And I filled this up. I don't actually know how many's left. It takes 78, and I did fill it. Let's see if I can remember how to work this. Here we go, and this will tell me. It's a very clever piece of kit. This will tell me how many bales. So I've got 59 out of 78 left, so that's not too bad. I'll just unload these off again, which is quite good, because then they come a bit further forward, because it's quite low down, and so trying to get a tractor in there, even my smallest tractor, is not the easiest thing to do. Right. So that's that. So let's crack on a wee bit. take you up towards the farm. Right, stop here and take a look at our cattle. So, you know, our dairy cattle are still happily here, and they will. I actually do have quite a bit of milk. The milk prices, I kind of missed the really good milk prices towards the end of last year. I'm hoping that in the next day or so we'll get some good milk prices. I'll have a look. I'm going to have a look at the computer in a bit and see what's on there. And over here, this was one of my biggest layouts in terms of expense, because come midsummer, I mean, I bought them when they are the cheapest to buy, and I bought about 90 of them, which is the most I've ever had on the farm. Since we started, we do go through quite a lot of straw bales, and quite a lot of TMR. I had to, I was working really long hours in the autumn to try and make sure that I had enough feed laid in until early summer, because that's when we next get to a hay cut and silage cut. But yeah, I think we were lucky. We've got, you know, we've done really well. I kind of got worried about the straw, so I had two big, you see this one on the right hand side, I had two of those and a little bit more. And as you can see, this is what we've got left of this lot, and it's only early spring, but I think that will do us. That should, well, I pretty much know now that that's going to do us until, well, she says, until we get the next harvest in. I'm not sure how much straw we're going to be. I'm still calculating out what we're putting in which fields this year. These cows, though, the beef cattle, they will be getting sold in about 2 days' time, and we won't be buying any in again until midsummer, when the prices dropped again. So in 2 days' time, you know, it's not, possibly not the highest price, but one of the highest prices that we get for beef cattle. So there we are. This glasshouse again. We did have the glasshouse up and running a little bit during the winter to get a little bit of added cash, because the cash flow was down quite low at one point after all the work. Now this vehicle, and I love this truck. I had we bought the new well, we leased a spreader, a salt spreader for the back of it, and they have two different types of salt spreaders, and I think one's more effective than the other at you know, at melting the salt, and you know, and I think it leaves a layer on. It helps keep the snow off it once it's melted. So instead of just the usual salt which we would normally use, we thought, we'll try this new stuff. They just call it melting, and we did try it, but weirdly it also impacted the grass. And I mean, and I was a bit concerned for a while, because I thought, am I gonna have to put some new grass in here, or is it going to come back? But actually, this is starting to grow, believe it or not, so it is coming back. So hopefully, eventually, that's going to start to look a bit better. It was a really strange thing. We didn't expect it to also melt the grass. Hold a second. I keep muting my mic, by the way, just in case you're wondering why it's gone so quiet, because my throat gets quite dry and I get a bit thirsty. And I don't want to hear you glug, have you hear me glugging away. So the other, this was a bit of an issue that we had during the winter. The chicken, which was quite a few years old now, and I hadn't really been maintaining it very well, unfortunately. and it collapsed. And we lost a few chickens in it. Some of the others we managed to, most of them we managed were okay, and we ended up, we just sold them on. So we're hoping to, later on in the year, build a, you might just have to hear me glug because I'm really dry. Over, you know, in the winter time I hardly speak to anybody, so my throat's a bit iffy. I've got a cough now. Apologies. So yeah, we're planning to build a new one at some point this year, as soon as we get a bit of time to do so. So yeah, that was another major change. I did think of putting a small chicken coop in just to provide fresh eggs for myself, but as yet I haven't got around to that either. So we'll just drive in here into the farmhouse, and we can go and have a look at the computer. Now, one of the other changes that we have made, because we've got so many animals now, we've got an awful lot more admin. And as you can see from all these folders and that's just, you know, in the last few months that's been there. So one of the things I've done, and everything, and to be honest with you, it's not here, is that I've hired a farm manager. And there was a set of empty offices up in the business park that were just, so I've leased those. I've leased the business offices up there, and my farm manager's up there, and he now covers most of she now covers most of my paperwork. And yeah. So if we have a look on our computer here, we'll look at the animals first. So the pigs, which we're probably going to have a look at some point, they're doing really quite well. They are increasing in numbers, and what we've been doing is that we've then been taking these, some of these, and we've moved them on to other areas, other woodlands across the country basically, which either have a decreasing population of wild pigs or are completely empty of wild pigs. So we're only taking it to those places where the woodland's protected, because there's no point in putting them in an unprotected woodland for that woodland then to be chopped down and the pigs to then lose their habitat again. So as a conservation plan, it's going really well. We're really pleased with it. And as I say, we are now we have started moving some of these pigs to other areas in which to try and boost numbers there too. Yeah, we're really quite pleased with that. The sheep. So this is with ropers. I think you can see, whoops, I think it'd be better using computers now. You can see that we've got some newborns. So they'll probably continue to produce lambs over the course of spring, and then that'll be that. This is the other ones. These haven't yet produced any. Now I don't know if they are going to, because I did buy these a bit later in the autumn than I intended. When I buy sheep, I tend to buy them in the autumn time, because that's the point at which they get pregnant, basically. So there was no point in buying them until any new sheep until autumn. So yeah, these are going to produce, so it's going to be fine. Cattle. This is my beef cattle. They've eaten quite a lot of the hay and the silage pellets. They need a lot of feed just now. They are now at the weight in which they can be sold. But as I say, it's going to be another 2 days before, we'll look at that in a minute, before their prices are reasonable good for us selling them. This is the larger of the two wool producing sheep. pens, and the pastures probably, and they are also producing young. And they actually started producing their young yesterday, so right at the end of winter. Thankfully, the snow was already gone by then, and so there weren't any complications. And this is our newest pasture, and they've produced quite a few newborns. And again, these are the milk producing ones. And lastly, we've got our milk producing cows. There are not too many of them yet. We're still only at 43. They produce a bit more slowly, I think. As you see, a lot of them are not currently fertile. This is the information we get from the vet. Some of them are. And of course, we need them to produce in order to produce milk. As you can see, though, we've got quite a lot of milk. We've got 171,000 litres of milk in there currently. So we do want to try and get that sold soon. So bearing that in mind, we'll go and have a look at next prices. So it's on straw pellets at the moment because I'm not quite finished. We're nearly finished putting the straw pellets up. We did sell some midwinter when the prices were quite okay. And so we've got a few more to sell. We'll take a look up there because I'm not finished, and that's what I'm going to go back to today. And we'll sell those. So, yeah. So in a couple of days' time, they're going to have really good prices. That's going to be a really busy day because that's the day that the cows' prices is kind of the best for this time of year for our limousines. So they'll also be getting sold that day. And if we look at milk, tomorrow's going to be not too bad for milk, so we'll try and get some of that milk sold off, or all of that milk sold off tomorrow. I don't always remember, and if I forget, it's going to be like autumn time before there's a really decent price. We do have some eggs, not a lot. We'll probably sell these quite quickly. Eggs prices not really important just now, so we might wait and put our chicken coop in, at some point. So, yeah. The other thing we need to sell, I think, sunflowers, and I think we need to sell sunflowers today. Next. So sunflowers, 821. That's really quite good. That's at the bakery. Vehicle shops is 812 and windmills 775. So the prices at the bakery are actually still going up. So I think we'll keep an eye on these. We'll take our tablet with us actually. So that'll help us keep an eye on these prices as they go up. Okay. In which case we are going to head back up to finish off the rest of these straw pellets. Ooh, can't drive. Quite a windy day. I don't know if you've heard as we've been jumping in and out of vehicles how windy it is. So here we are, back up here. We've not got too many more to go actually. We've only got a little bit here left to do, which is fine. So I need to get these off here and out, put them outside with the others, ready for getting sold in a couple of days. So yeah, my worker's off doing something else now, so I'll have to do this myself. They were helping me this morning, which was really handy. We are in springtime, it is busy, there is the lambing, you know, they have to keep an eye on the sheep for the lambing, and and get ready to call the vet if there's any complications that we can't deal with ourselves, and also, you know, get the fields prepared for sowing, so that they are really busy too. And it's my fault. In a way, it's my fault this is finished, as I say, because I was helping with that project that we run. Now, I'm not taking any payment for the work that I'm doing with the instead chucking in some free meals for me, which is more than adequate payment, I think, from the quality of the food. So I'm happy with that. I mean, it doesn't cost me anything apart from a little bit of time. I might go and chip some more logs actually, and you know, I'll get the ones out from behind the odd still. Once I've done this, I've still got time left in this video, and start chopping some of this to take up and put into storage up there, because that what we've taken up there just now won't last very long. And the nights are still quite cold. Yeah, hello. Yeah, it's a beautiful spring day. It's not warm enough yet to actually start sowing in the crops, but well, other than grass, but the grass is also including, you know, I did choose some of the grass fields to compensate for having more animals too now that need silage, etc. Started now that I've cleared some of this out the way. As I say, I did sell some of these earlier on in the winter time for good prices for a couple of weeks time as well. So we just take them to this pallet set right here, and the distributor comes in, puts them up, and takes them to their warehouse, sell them on. This was quite a layout in terms of finances on the farm. To be fair, it's going to take this and the machine we use to palletise. It's going to take quite a bit of time before we really start making any money back on this. But you know, it does give us a good income for the farm. So, it's taking a long time to be worth it if we decide to keep this. As I say, we may sell this off and move to other things. I'm hoping not to, but we'll see. I mean, I was, this winter time, we were really busy over the winter too. I mean, we do try to over the winter time do a little bit less out of work. Say a little bit less. Try to not have such long days, especially after the autumn time in the harvest, where we were out till 1 AM, a couple of evenings, just trying to get the harvest in, especially to get that rain, and it just puts everything back, and you have to wait till the crop dry out again, and to knock you back time-wise quite a bit. So in the winter time we try to to work less hours, and so we'll try to sleep a little bit longer. We may not start till like 8 AM instead of our usual 6 we do all other months, and we'll try to finish no later than 7 o'clock in the evening as well, because it's dark. It gets dark early, especially midwinter. About 5 o'clock it's quite dark. And it's not really safe to work in the dark. A lot of accidents happen in farms when it's dark. So, you know, it's a health and safety thing as well to try not be too late. We'll aim for about 5 finishing time actually, but occasionally it's a little bit later than that. You know, I don't want them to be out working any more than 7. Okay, apologies, you probably see that time's moved on a little bit since I did get a call from the workers who's up cultivating fields, getting them prepared for sowing, as I say. He was out for a couple of our larger fields this year, and he was looking at the map and the locations, and he realised that, you know, we've got some really big fields that we're going to be sitting fallow this year. So that's something we're going to have to think about, because if we've got quite large fields sitting fallow, that means that it's going to impact our income later on in the year, so we'll have to think about that a little bit. So, you know, hopefully, the thing is to, you know, that in terms of our fields, we are at our limits. We have been discussing amongst us with the new farm manager. He's actually raised it because he's like, well, you really shouldn't work until 1 AM. Even, hello, farmers, especially during harvest time. So we are looking at the possibility of hiring another worker, farm hands. But, you know, that would probably also mean hiring another not hiring, but buying another tractor. And I'd be looking at buying one of the larger tractors again, and they're not cheap. So, you know, it's something we're going to have to think of, because, you know, there's quite a few other things around the farm, you know, I could be doing, and it also costs money. And, yeah. So food for thought. We probably have a bit of time. If we do hire another worker, it might be later on in the year. By that point, I've possibly got a little bit more money in the bank, depending on how things go. But yeah, having, you know, some of our larger size fields sit fallow this year is going to affect the bank balance towards the end of the year. This is we're pretty much finished up here. Time-wise, we're looking at, you're probably not going to get me to see me doing chopping up the logs for the campsite, or showing you my hidden still old stuff. It's not currently on. Maybe show you that tomorrow if I remember. So for now, yeah, we've just got a few minutes left. Recording time for this. We've got a bit of editing to do, I think. And then that'll be that for today. And we'll come back and see you all again. So we'll tune in again tomorrow. If I've not put you off already, tried not to mumble too much. I'm recording this at the time of day when I'm the only one home, and that helps me to think about moving my voice a little bit more, just to be, which is really weird because I'm not the quietest people speaking anyway, mostly due to my hearing impairment. But, yeah. So, see how we're doing. Yeah, are we going to get another, I don't think we are going to get another pallet though. Probably going to stop in quite soon. I'm not expecting to get another pallet before. If we do, it'll only be one anyway. So actually, let's see if we can quickly just very quick. Lights out, doors off. Partway quickly. Drive up and show you where I used to have to still. Kind of just try to restrict the cruising speed on this a little bit, because as you know I have a tendency to roll this poor little beastie, and I've also put dual wheels on the back to see if that'll help me, but probably not. But you know, it is what it is, as you see. Right. I keep having to check my mic because, you know, this does have, this mic rather than the one I was using for the first two videos I'd have is, it does have the option to mute, and actually you can unplug the mic from the headset completely. So I hope it's working okay, and I hope it's a bit better than my other mic. I mean, I got this one, but to be honest with you, it's not the most comfortable things that I have to wear, so I tend not to wear it for too long. I tend to use my other one headset when I'm doing multiplayer with my friends and cope with my friends, online friends. So well hidden I can't even find it. Right. So just, I mean, this was just sort of at the back of where my house is. So here we go. So out in these woods I put a little stall and I hid it in amongst here. Tried to camouflage it with some bushes that I put around it, and there's some wood here as well. And as I say, this is wood I'm probably going to use to cut that for down at the campsite. It's kind of sticking through the back here as well. So yeah, as I say, it's a little bit overgrown now, but I used to have my stall hidden in here, and I'd have the front bit rolled down as well. And yeah, and it was nice in the early days when I first started farming. It gave me a little bit of extra income, you know, just growing spring barley, so why not? But yeah, I think, as I say, I'll get rid of these little logs, maybe cut back these bushes again, and get rid of this little tent here in place, because, you know, I no longer need it, and we've got a lovely inn now where I can pop down for a pint whenever I want. So I think that is a good place on which to end today. It's 5 o'clock. Hopefully myself and my workers will not be working too much longer, a couple of hours I'm hoping. And then, yeah. Then tomorrow we'll crack on with some other things, and hopefully we'll maybe even start getting some of the fields sown tomorrow, which would be a really good thing to do. And yeah, thank you for tuning in if you did. If you didn't, you wouldn't be hearing me say this anyway, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye folks.